Hare Krishna, Pranam, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, let's
Hare
start with
Krishna
praying.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपीश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशितारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Pranam dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining to continue our reading of the Nectar of Devotion. So Mataji had started chapter 8 and the first paragraph with the 32 offenses was already discussed. Now we'll read the next paragraph. So there is another list of offenses that is mentioned here. These are 29 in number. So we'll read through that and discuss a little and move forward. So would someone like to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, Mataji, you can start.
This is a list of 32 offenses. Besides these, there are a number of offenses which are mentioned in Varaha Purana. They are as follows. One should not touch the deity in a dark room. One should not fail to strictly follow the rules and regulation in worshipping the deity. One should not enter the temple of deity without first making some sound. One should not offer any foodstuff to the deity which has been seen by dogs or other lower animals. One should not break silence while worshipping. One should not pass urine or evacuate while engaged in worshipping. One should not offer incense without offering some flowers. Useless flowers without any fragrance should not be offered. One should not fail to wash his teeth very carefully every day. One should not enter the temple directly after sexual intercourse. One should not enter the temple after touching a woman during her menstrual period. One should not enter the temple after touching a dead body. One should not enter the temple wearing garments of red or blue color or garments which are unwashed. One should not enter the temple after seeing. One should not. After seeing a dead body, one should not pass air within the temple. One should not be angry within the temple. One should not enter the temple after visiting a crematorium. One should not bletch before the deity. So, until one has fully digested his food, he should not enter the temple. One should not smoke marijuana or ganja. One should not take opium or similar intoxicants. One should not enter the deity room or touch the body of the deity after having smeared oil over his body. One should not show disrespect to the scripture teaching about the supremacy of the Lord. One should not introduce any opposing scripture. One should not chew betel before the deity. One should not offer a flower that was kept in an unclean pot. One should not worship the Lord while sitting on a bare floor. One must have a sitting place or carpet. One should not touch the deity before one has completed taking bath. One should not decorate his forehead with three-lined tilaka. One should not enter the temple without washing his hands and feet. Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Would someone like to read the next paragraph? Yes, Sudha Mataji.
Jai Mataji.
Yeah, Sudha Mataji, then
Yes,
Chandrarekha Mataji.
Okay. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Other rules are that one should not offer foodstuff which is cooked by a non-Vaishnava. One should not worship the deity before a non-devotee, and one should not engage himself in the worship of the Lord while seeing a non-devotee. One should begin the worship of the demigod Ganpati, who drives away all impediments in the execution of devotional service. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that Ganpati worships the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimha Deva, and in that way has become auspicious for the devotees in clearing out all impediments. Therefore, all devotees should worship Ganpati. The deities should not be bathed in water which has been touched by the nails or fingers. When a devotee is perspiring, he should not engage himself in worshipping the deity. Similarly, there are many other prohibitions. For example, one should not cross or step over the flowers offered to the deities, nor should one take a vow in the name of God. These are all different kinds of offenses in the matter of executing devotional service, and one should be careful to avoid them. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
shall I read?
Yes, Mataji, please start.
In the Padma Purana, it is stated that even a person whose life is completely sinful will be completely protected by the Lord if he simply surrenders onto him. So, it is accepted that one who surrenders onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes free from all sinful reactions. And even when a person becomes an offender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he can still be delivered simply by taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In other words, the chanting of Hare Krishna is beneficial for eradicating all sins. But if one becomes an offender to the holy names of the Lord, then he has no chance of being delivered.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Would someone like to read the last paragraph, last
May I,
section?
Mataji?
Yes, Mataji,
Hare
please.
Krishna.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Mataji. Mm, The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. 1. The blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. To consider the names of the demigod, like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the aesthetic class of man take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali Kali or Durga Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense to disobey the orders of spiritual master. Fourth, the blaspheme the Vedic literature. Sorry, Mataji. Blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature. Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Oh, okay. Because something happened. Or literature, sorry.
Yes. Uh, Vedic literature in pursuance of Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna or to be imagination. Six, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seven, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. It should not be taken that because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful reactions. One may continue to act sinfully, and uh, mm, after that chanting, chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Mm, such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna one of the auspicious ritualistic activities offered in the Vedas as protective activities, Karmakanda. 9th, to instruct a faithless persons about the glories of holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, but in the beginning, one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. Tenth, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names, and to maintain material attachment even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Hare Krishna. Devi. Thank you. Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. So this chapter is talking about all the various offenses that we need to avoid. So 32 of those were read yesterday and 29 now. And then we also read the offenses against the holy name, which actually we should be reading every day before we chant so that we very carefully avoid those offenses. As you know, chanting is very important seva. It's very important. Prabhupada has put a lot of emphasis that our spiritual life, our progress in our spiritual life, Prabhupada would say it depends greatly on the way we are chanting. Yes, there are so many other sevas that we do, but chanting is so very important because that keeps our consciousness right. So we also read the offenses against the holy name. Now, all these offenses that are being discussed in this chapter, these offenses to be avoided in devotional service, why is it so important? Because offense means aparad. The technical term is aparad. Now, aparad means it takes us away, aparadha, takes us away from Radha, from Srimati Radharani. Radharani is the Haladini Shakti of Lord Krishna. So when we go away from the Haladini Shakti of Krishna, then we will not experience the taste, the mellows of bhakti, the joy, the happiness in bhakti. We'll stop tasting that. And when we don't get that joy in bhakti, the nature of it's the nature of everyone is to look for happiness because the soul is Sachidanand. So the soul is joyful in nature, and that's why everything we do in our lives, if we trace back, why we are doing this, what is the reason behind everything that we do, is that we are trying to find happiness, ananda, and we want to keep distress away. Now, if we don't get that happiness, that joy in bhakti, then we will try to find it in other places. So the result of offenses can be manifold. But what happens is that when we don't experience that joy in bhakti, that taste, then because of that lack of taste, we will go somewhere else to look for that taste. So we'll not stay in our spiritual life for very long because we'll start looking for that joy, that happiness somewhere else. And the material tastes will start popping up, and then there is a chance of a fall down. See, what keeps us, steady on the path of bhakti is when we are experiencing that joy, when we are experiencing a higher taste. Otherwise, when we don't get that higher taste, our senses will gradually take us towards a lower taste, which we have experience of, for countless number of lifetimes. And when we start thinking that the material things are more attractive, then we'll gradually fall away from the process of bhakti. So that is why it is very important that whenever it's a question of aparadh, we should take it very seriously. See, some of the things that we read yesterday, some of the aparadhs, offenses that we read today, we might think, why is this so important? Why should I not do this? Okay, what's the big deal if I just do this? The problem is that if we get into this tendency of not taking the aparadh seriously, then our chance of deviating from the path of bhakti becomes very high. And that is the big risk. Because it's taken us so many lifetimes to finally come to this path of bhakti. By the Hetuki Kripa of the Lord and His devotees, we finally got a human form and we finally got a chance to practice bhakti. And then, do we really want to get out of this path just because of some carelessness? No, we should not be careless. Yes, it is very simple. Prabhupada has made the process very simple, but we have to be very cautious that we don't commit offenses. Lord Chaitanya also said that if you keep chanting the names of Krishna and avoid the offenses, then you will reach Krishna. But chanting is very important and avoiding offenses is also very, very important. Now, here we have to understand the difference between aparadh and pap. That means offense and sin. Aparadh is offense and pap is sin. See, the thing is that the sin and the good things, pap and punya, they are still on the material level. Okay. If we have done some kind of a sin, it will give us bad reactions. We do punya, we get good reactions. Yes, definitely we have to avoid the pap also because it contaminates our consciousness and it can also deviate us. But the problem with aparadh, the problem with offense is that it can take us away from Krishna and make us lose the taste in bhakti because offense means we have disrespected something which we should have respected. And this happens because we have taken the divine as material. Something which is, something which deserves a lot of respect and regard from our side, we did not give that kind of respect, that kind of regard. And that is the aparadh, and that takes us away from Krishna. So that's why it's not just a matter of getting some sinful reaction. No, it has a bigger risk of taking us away from Krishna. Now, the Lord is very merciful. It's not like He is just counting that, oh, if someone has done this aparadh, he's just waiting for someone to do an offense and then He will condemn us. It's not that. The Lord is very merciful. He gives us so many chances because He's our all loving Father. So, just like a very loving parent, they will always give, chances of redemption to their children. The Lord also is very merciful. But it is for us to understand that we need to treat Krishna with a lot of respect. See, so many points that we read yesterday, 32 offenses yesterday, 29 today. If we really go and see deeply, it is all, it will all come down to showing respect or not showing respect. So there are certain rules, there are certain regulations which we need to follow. Okay, why do we need to follow that? If I have respect for Krishna, then I will follow it. And if I consider the deity, if I consider the presence of Krishna, if I take it very lightly, then these offenses will not mean anything to me. So we have to understand that, what is our way of approaching the deity. If we really understand that the deity is non-different than Krishna, then we will not shout or get angry at anyone in front of the deity. And we have to be very careful about these things because at home also we have deities, we have a temple in our homes. By Prabhupada's mercy, we get this chance of serving the Lord in our homes also. So we have to understand that are we really believing that Krishna is actually the king of this home? Or am I the queen of this house and so I can just behave the way I want to? If we really believe that this house belongs to Krishna, he is the king of this house, then when we come in front of him, then we should be in our best behavior. Now, if really, if say, for example, the Prime Minister comes to our homes, Will we really behave the way we are behaving right now? Or will we be a little alert and very respectful? We speak very respectfully. We offer the best things to him. Everything changes. Even when a normal guest comes to our home, we become so conscious. Now, we'll clean the house thoroughly. We'll move things around. We'll bring out the best things to present to them if the guest is important to us. Now, Krishna is the most important person for us. So that's why when we are in front of the deity, we should be very respectful. For example, if there are kids who are fighting, say siblings are fighting, and suddenly the father comes, then will they use the same kind of language? No, they stop fighting, if they have respect for their father. So they stop fighting, their language will change, their behavior will change. So if, like, for example, if a grandparent also comes, there is a certain change that comes. So in front of a superior, our, we'll not fight, we'll not shout, right? So, I mean, in a culture of respect. So similarly, in front of the deity, when we are told that we should not shout or chastise someone in front of the deity, that is to show respect to the deity. Okay. And deities are the king of our house. So that's why, we have to be at our best behavior. And this again comes down to changing ourselves internally. For how long can we really pretend? If it is in my nature that I'll just get irritated all the time, I'll shout, whenever I feel like shouting, I'm just short tempered, I cannot keep control over my emotions. If that's the kind of person I am, then I will end up fighting with someone or shouting at someone in front of the deities also. And I can do that in the temple also, not just my home temple, but in the temple also. Because that's my nature. It will come out, it will reflect at some point. If there is a trigger, then I just, it will happen. That's why we have to work on ourselves internally, make ourselves calmer inside, be able to forgive others, be able to ignore so many things which are not important really. When we change ourselves internally, then it will be possible for us to actually do these things. Okay. Next question can come. Why do we need to be respectful? Why do we need to be respectful towards Krishna? The first thing, of course, is because he's the Lord of everything we serve. He's the Lord, he's the King. So we have to be respectful. And secondly, if we are respectful, if we are careful, then that will help in our remembrance of Krishna. See, these kind of mistakes, the carelessness will generally happen when we are not present really there, when our mind is somewhere else. See, for example, I'm thinking of something else and I'm doing deity worship. I'm bound to make mistakes because I'm not conscious of Krishna. I'm not really remembering Krishna at that time. I'm not mindful. If we remember Krishna, if we are conscious that when we are coming in front of the deity, this is the Lord Himself, we are really conscious of the Lord's presence, then automatically we will be respectful. And then we will be able to avoid these offenses. It will become possible for us to avoid these offenses if we are really Krishna conscious. That is what we need to bring it in our behavior. And not just towards Krishna, but towards Krishna's representatives also. So, if we don't respect Krishna, if we don't respect the representatives of Krishna who are so dear to Krishna, then why will Krishna show his mercy upon us? Why will he make us more Krishna conscious? Why will he give us bhakti then? If we are not able to do something as simple as respecting the Lord, respecting his paraphernalia, respecting his representatives. For example, there was one incident where there was a devotee who was cleaning a room, Prabhupada's room, and there was a photograph of Prabhupada there. And when he cleaned the photograph, when he put it back, he placed it upside down. So when Prabhupada came and he saw, Prabhupada said, "This is not good at all. This is very disrespectful." So whether it is a picture of Lord Krishna or it is a picture of our Guru Maharaj or Srila Prabhupada, or if we are carrying books, carrying pictures, we have to understand that these things are all non-different from Krishna. So we have to be very respectful. So if we are holding a book also, we should hold it in such a way that it is straight, it's not upside down. When we are transporting these things, transporting paraphernalia, washing the paraphernalia of the Lord, we should be very, very careful and conscious. These are not ordinary utensils that we are washing. Okay? So everything actually stems down to the fact of showing respect. So the basic principle is avoiding offenses because we want to be conscious of Krishna and we want to be respectful of Krishna. Okay. Now, some of the offenses that we read through are very self-explanatory. There's not much to explain here. Like, for example, all the things that are related to cleanliness. It is a very basic thing that we have to be very clean when we are doing deity worship, when we are in front of the deities. Then why should we not touch the deity in a dark room? That's the first offense that we read today. That's because we can actually misplace the deity. You can, put the deity wrong in a wrong way, or handle the deity in a way that we should not. So it should not be completely dark. The room should not be completely dark, and at the same time, especially in the Mangal Aarti time, it should not be the light should not be very bright, because we have to, if we are really feeling that Krishna went to sleep and he is now waking up, then any person who is waking up will not want very strong lights coming in, right? There is actually an incident where Narsimha's deity in Mayapur, he gave darshan to one of the pujaris and told him that when you do the Mangala Seva, don't put very sharp lights, very strong lights. No, have a very soft light. So generally there'll always be very soft light or very small diya, deepam, which is then taken, and then gradually all the other sevas start and then other lights are switched on. But generally, if you see in the Mangal Aarti darshan in the temples also, the deity altar will have soft lights, and generally, the temple hall is kept very dimly lit or even dark, because the Lord is just waking up. So he doesn't like to have very strong lights. Then one should not fail to follow the rules and regulations of worshipping the deity. Definitely. If we are considering Krishna to be important, if we are considering that these instructions which have been received through Shastra and Parampara, they are important, then we'll be very mindful of following all those rules and regulations. Okay, it's not something casual. It's not that I can just take any order. I can offer items in any order. I can keep them as unclean as I want. No, it's a very, very serious thing, very serious offense. So we have to be very careful in following the rules and regulations for deity worship. And then when we are entering the altar, devotees always have this habit of clapping a little and then they enter. That's an etiquette that we need to follow. Food stuff that is going to be offered to the deities should not have been seen by dogs or lower animals. It's considered to be contaminated. That cannot be then offered to the deities. And one should not break silence while worshipping. So, any kind of any conversation between devotees also who are worshipping the deities, it should only be if it is absolutely required for the worship to go on properly. Otherwise, you see devotees when they are on the altar worshipping, they never talk of anything else. Okay, so that again comes to the question of respect, right? Then the passing urine, evacuating, all these things are washing our teeth. This is all related to cleanliness. So we should be completely clean, fresh clothes when we are offering worship to the deities. And when the worship starts, that's why you must have seen. First of all, some flowers are placed on the altar. Then the arti starts. So we should not offer incense without first offering some flowers. And flowers, again, there are some flowers which may look very pretty, but they don't have any fragrance. So they can be used for decoration in general in the temple, but not for deity worship. Deity worship flowers should always have fragrance. Okay. And then not entering the temple after sexual intercourse or touching a woman in her menstrual period. Again, this is all related to cleanliness, and not entering the temple after touching a dead body. And if one has been to a crematorium, or if there has been a death in the body, after seeing that, we should not enter the temple, because the cleanliness is, the contamination can be physical and it can also be emotional, right? So, being in an unclean state, or if there has been a death in the family, when we go to the temple, we may not be fully attentive to the seva, right? Because our mind is not in a very good state if something like this has happened or we have seen something like that. So, for that reason, we need to avoid these things, not passing air. Again, it's about cleanliness. Then, this thing about not wearing completely red or completely blue garments or garments, which are unwashed. So, unwashed definitely is clear to understand, right? Very clear. But red and blue, why not red? Why not blue? And this here is about completely red and completely blue garments. So, for this, I have heard some devotees explain that the red and blue colors are Radharani's colors. She likes to wear those garments. So, then we, as servants of Radharani, should not wear those colors. Then, not belching or smoking, intoxicants. Uh, these should not be taken definitely. And not entering the deity room or touch the body of the deity after having smeared oil over our body. This again, I mean, it's it's going to be uncomfortable for the deities, right? If we have oil all over our body, it's not going to be a very clean seva that we'll be able to render. Then not showing disrespect to a scripture, like Shastra is also representation of Krishna. So we should not uh, uh, disrespect the Shastra. We should not, offer a flower that has been kept in unclean pot. This is all very self-explanatory. And then there should always be an asan. That's why you must have seen that pujaris, when they are offering arti, they're always standing on an asan. So that sitting place or carpet should always be there. And unless we have taken a bath fully, we should not touch the deity. And then the three mark tilaka, that is the representative of Mayava. So we should not have that on our forehead. And we should enter only after we have washed our hands and feet. So this kind of, these principles are really followed in many temples in India. And that again comes to the question of cleanliness, the question of showing respect to the deities. Okay. Now, there are two vidhis of worshipping deities. There is the Pancharatra vidhi, which is centered around deity worship, and then there is also the Bhagavad vidhi, which is centered more around hearing and chanting. So someone may say that if there has been a death in my family, or if I've seen someone who's dead and I am in an undisturbed state, then wouldn't I want to go to a temple to get some solace? Then why can't I just go? So here we have to understand that to get solace, we can uh, take refuge in the Bhagavad Vidhi, that is hearing and chanting. That will also give us solace. We can meet devotees, they can give us solace. And generally, if any devotee is in some kind of distress, other devotees are always there to help out, right? It's just that in the Pancharatra Vidhi, there are some restrictions that we need to follow. So we should give respect to that Vidhi and then not break those kind of rules. But we can, in times of distress, we can get shelter through the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So these principles, like I mentioned earlier, they are there so that we can have more remembrance of Krishna. Then going to the next section, we read about how we should not offer food stuff which is cooked by a non-Vaishnava. So this is also very easy to understand, right? Because cooking is not just about bringing some ingredients together, following a recipe that anyone can do. But cooking for Krishna is about consciousness. And any kind of cooking for that matter, the consciousness of the person who's cooking really makes a big difference. And when we are offering foodstuffs to Krishna, it's not just about the dish, it's also that we are offering our love, our consciousness to Krishna. We are showing our love and affection to the Lord through that cooking process. So cooking is something that is actually, it's a very, very important seva. And that's why you see that there are a lot of conditions, there are a lot of rules that we have to follow when, especially in the temples, when the cooking is done. There is a very high standard of cleanliness and even how the ingredients are brought. I was just seeing one very wonderful video about the ISKCON Vrindavan temple kitchen. It is so beautiful. You can see every pot, every pan is just so clean. It's sparkling. And the ingredients are first class. And then how even, what kind of chili powder is also used. it should just be for color, but it should not make the food too hot. And how, there is no artificial coloring that should be used, how they cook everything in ghee except for salads where they use olive oil. So when we see such kind of things, when we hear these things, when we hear of the standards that are being followed, we understand that this is something that should be taken very, very seriously. It's not a normal thing. If we really believe that the deity is Krishna, then we have to offer the best thing to Krishna. And even in Prabhupada's time, Prabhupada himself, the way he used to cook, he was so efficient, and so even in America he maintained such standards. And taking, instruction from Prabhupada, all the wonderful Matajis and Prabhus in ISKCON who cook, like for example, Her Grace Yamuna Mataji. She's written a book, Lord Krishna's Cuisine, and that's like an encyclopedia for devotees who want to cook for Krishna. It is so vast and extensive. And when Mataji's book came out, she took that book in front of her deity of Prabhupada and she showed him the book. See, this was her offering of love to Prabhupada. So it's not just a simple recipe book. It's not just normal cooking that, and anyone can do. Cooking for the Lord is a very important seva. And that's why anything that has been cooked by a non-Vaishnava should not be offered. Okay? And one should not worship the deity before a non-devotee, because then again there is that disrespect is there. And one should not engage himself in the worship of the Lord while seeing a non-devotee, because it can contaminate our consciousness. So the pujaris you must have seen in temples when they are doing the deity worship, there is a lot of focus. They are completely, immersed in that seva, and that is how it should be done. It should not be a very distracted kind of seva. Then the other point about not worshipping the deity before first worshipping Lord Ganpati. So Lord Ganpati, he's been given this special place where he should be offered the first worship in any puja, and he also drives away all impediment. So that's why Ganpati ji has a very special place, and we also have to remember that when he is called Vignaharta, this strength to actually remove the Vigna, he gets this from worshipping the lotus feet of Lord Narsimhadev. So yes, you must be thinking that we don't actually worship Ganpati, right? And do we do that in our temples or in our homes? Not really. That's not something that Prabhupada told us to do. But here he is saying that we should worship Ganpati. So here, first of all, we have to understand that when Prabhupada is saying that we should worship Ganpati, this is not worshipping Ganpati independently of Krishna. Many people do that. For them, it's just, they're so attached to Lord Ganesha that they'll not worship Krishna at all. They'll worship Ganpati as the all in all. So do you think Lord Ganesha would really like that? Because he is a very elevated devotee of the Lord. He is offering respects to Lord Narsimhadev. And when someone worships him as a supreme, is he actually going to enjoy that or like that? Definitely not. But the kind of worship that Prabhupada is talking about here is worshipping him as a great devotee of the Lord. And he actually has the powers to remove the vigna from the path of our bhakti. So we should definitely, and that is in that way we worship all demigods and all devotees of the Lord, right? Because we ask them for bhakti. So it was said that if there is a temple of a demigod, for example, Lord Shiva or Mother Durga, can devotees enter that temple? Yes, definitely. Devotees should enter that temple. Devotees should offer respects to the demigod, but understanding their position as servants of Krishna or ministers of Krishna. And what can we ask them for? We can ask them that, please give me bhakti. You have bhakti for Krishna, so please give me bhakti. Okay, so the first point is that the Ganpati worship that Prabhupada is talking about here is not worshipping Ganpati as a supreme, but yes, worshipping him as a great devotee of Lord Krishna. And then how are we actually worshipping Lord Ganesha? So this is explained in two ways. That when we are worshipping our spiritual master, see, every kind of worship that we do, even our chanting, we always offer respects to our guru, right? So when one is offering respects to our Guru, the Guru is supposed to have all the Devi Devtas in them, and he is even higher than them for us. So when we are offering respects to our Guru, then that means we are offering respects to all the Devis and Devtas. So that means we are offering respect to Lord Ganesha also. And when we say Om Agyanti Mirandasya, then also we are offering respects to our Guru, and in this way to the demigods as well. So in this way we are following this instruction of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada's instructions through his books, we also understand his instructions through the other conversations or letters that Srila Prabhupada has written. Okay. So in some of these letters, Prabhupada has very clearly said that you don't need to separately worship Lord Ganesha. Okay. So in understanding the whole concept, understanding Prabhupada's other conversations and letters, we understand that, by offering respects to Lord Ganesha, by offering respects to our Guru, in this way we are worshipping Lord Ganesha. Okay. So that's how we understand this point about worshipping Lord Ganesha. Then the next point.
Hare Krishna,
Please.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, in so many lectures, and even my Shiksha Guru, they said, because this Lord Narsimha Dev, he is there for us in place of Ganpati. So he
Yes.
will do all the Vigna Vinasha and all that, so we can pray to him.
Yes, yes. Yes, Mataji. That's absolutely right. Because Lord Ganesha is also getting that strength from Lord Narsimha Dev only. Na?
Yeah.
So if we are offering worship to Lord Narsimha Dev, which we are doing every day, so then we are offering respect to Lord Ganesha also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji,
Thank you.
one more clarification.
Yes,
This,
yes.
this that is 21, number 21. One should not enter the deity room or touch the body of the deity after having smeared oil on the body. But normally when we bathe, we just apply a little oil on the body, this coconut oil, no, that is for the skin to remain smooth.
Yes,
So
yes.
is that bad?
No,
When
not
do we-
that,
when do we
Mataji. No, it's not that, Mataji. In that way, if it is absorbed and it's my hand is not oily and all, then it's not a problem.
Yeah,
But
after we put water.
yeah. That's not a problem, Mataji. It's just having a lot of oil and then taking a full massage and all that and
Yeah,
entering.
okay.
That's not considered
Yeah.
good.
Also, one more question, Matari.
Yes.
This number 28. One should not decorate his forehead with the with the 3-line tilaka. Now we generally put 2-line tilaka, no? There's two lines. But when you go to Vrindavan, they forcefully those children they come and put the red one in the middle. So that
No,
becomes
it's
3.
not
That is
that
Mayavadi.
three-lined. No, Mataji, it's that the horizontal lines.
Okay.
Which Mayavadis put, that one.
Yeah. But that's
In
not for
this way,
Shiva, no, Mataji?
sorry, Mataji.
3 lines are put for Lord Shiva, no? That is across.
No, Lord Shiva, yes. Sometimes they put because he came as Shankaracharya and that whole thing is there. But Lord Shiva, we know that he's a Vaishnava. But
Vaishnava,
yeah, so 3 lines can also depict Mayavad. They can depict someone who's a worshipper of Lord Shiva in that way. So as
Yeah, but
Vaishnavas, we should not put 3 lines.
yeah, there are some more people who put like a V and then a white one in the middle. So they are Mayavadis over there also in Vrindavan.
No, Mataji.
Or even
V
Mathura.
is, see, because all sampradayas will have a different tilak. Like
Yeah.
Sri Sampradaya has a straight. So everyone will have a different, but V and tilak in the middle, that's not Mayavad. Mayavad will have those horizontal lines.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So in the next paragraph also, there are many points about cleanliness. Like, for example, the water that is put for worship of Krishna, we should not put our fingers inside, our nails inside, or if we are perspiring, then we should not be doing deity worship. The flowers that have been offered to the deity, they are worshipable. So we should not step over or cross over those flowers. And taking a vow in the name of God, many people do that, but that's not recommended. It's a big offense. We should not be doing that. So then Prabhupada is saying that these are all different kinds of offenses in the matter of executing devotional service, and one should be careful to avoid them. Okay, so if we consider something important, then we follow those rules and regulations with a lot of heart. For example, when a mother, her newborn child is there, the child is very tender. There's so many things that she has to take care of. You can't feed this, you can't feed that, you this quantity, that quantity. Anything from outside you should not give. Even mother takes care of what she eats also. So many rules and regulations a mother follows even from the moment when she has just conceived the baby. Why is she able to follow all these things? Because there is a lot of love for the baby. So those things don't feel like a burden. In the same way, when we are reading through these offenses, we should not feel that, oh my God, it's just too cumbersome. No, the Lord is so loving towards us. He has given us so much. Can't we be a little mindful and follow these regulations so that we are able to offer a very clean worship to the Lord? Yes, we should. It's not a burden when there is love that comes in between them. Okay, so if there is attention in our service, then all these things will not seem like a burden. It'll become a way of life for us if we are putting our love, our heart into our seva. So we develop our love for Krishna by committing ourselves to the standard process. Okay, there is sometimes a very, a very, like a blast of emotion we may feel for someone. But if we really want to be in a committed relationship, for example, a husband and a wife, initially maybe there is just too much emotion. But is that emotion, that hormonal kind of thing, is that going to really take that relationship over decades? No. The relationship will go for decades if there is a commitment and if there is that feeling of doing something for each other. In the same way, our love for Krishna will develop, it will become very deep if we are committed to the standard process. Okay, so when we give up these offenses, then we'll make very quick advancement on the path of bhakti. We have to always keep reminding ourselves that these regulations have been given to me by Srila Prabhupada, these have been given to me by devotees, so that I can get closer to Krishna. These are not restrictions that are just there to, someone is just imposing these things on me. No, these are there so that we can give away our lower tendencies and make our consciousness also very clean. See, don't we feel a difference when we are wearing some unclean clothes versus when we are wearing some very clean, freshly washed clothes? If we are wearing clean clothes, putting nice tilak, immediately our consciousness is raised, right? So these things, they are just there to help us. Okay, and when deity worship is concerned, we have to be mindful that this is the supreme Lord, so we have to worship with that kind of a detail and love. Then Prabhupada is saying that in Padma Puran it is said that even a person whose life is completely sinful will be completely protected by the Lord if he simply surrenders unto him. So it is accepted that one who surrenders unto the Supreme Lord becomes free from all sinful reactions. So even if we have done a lot of sins, we have been a sinner, the Lord, His presence, His name is so powerful that they can clear us from all sinful reactions. So Prabhupada is talking about all these different kind of offenses, and then he's telling us this. So why is he saying this? Because so that we don't get scared. Oh my God, what all things I have done, or what all mistakes I have made in the past. Oh, why didn't I read Nectar of Devotion earlier? I have already made so many offenses. Yes, we all have made offenses. But by Prabhupada's mercy, now we know what we should do and what we should not do. So, what all the mistakes that have happened in the past, let that not stop us from moving forward now. Now we should know that, okay, now I need to become conscious. Now I need to start chanting very nicely because I know I have made a lot of mistakes in the past and only the Lord can save me. So now let's become very mindful and be very cautious that we should not keep committing those offenses again and again. So the Lord's name is very, very powerful. It really helps elevate our consciousness. Prabhupada is saying that the chanting of Hare Krishna is beneficial for eradicating all sins. But if one becomes an offender to the holy names of the Lord, then he has no chance of being delivered. So, yes, the holy name is what is actually going to protect us, save us. But if we are committing offenses to the holy name itself, then what is the hope for us? It's a very, very precarious situation. That's why we have to become very conscious of these 10 offenses that we need to avoid against the holy name. Like I mentioned earlier, we should read all these offenses every day. And it's not that we just, when we are sitting to chant, have to avoid these offenses. No, it's a complete lifestyle change and consciousness change that we need to bring in so that we don't do these offenses. So that when we are sitting to chant our 16 rounds or more, then we do good chanting. See, when you read through all these offenses, it becomes very clear that if we are committing these offenses, then our consciousness will be polluted. And with that polluted consciousness, if I'm sitting and chanting, then my chanting will not really help me as much. The Lord's name is very, very merciful, very powerful. But are we really putting in our effort to consciously avoid these offenses? Yes, we should do that so that the holy name can have a greater effect on our consciousness. So, like first offense, blaspheming the devotees who have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord. So, this includes disrespecting or criticizing those devotees who have dedicated their life for spreading the holy name. Not, without any regard to their background or how they are doing it, where they come from, which country they are from, are they born in, have they taken birth in a Brahmana family or India or whatever, nothing matters. If they are preaching the holy name of the Lord, if they are dedicated to serving the Lord, we have to really be very careful. We should not blaspheme them. And not just devotees who are preachers, but every devotee. And Lord Chaitanya has said that one who chants the name of Lord Krishna even once is a devotee. So we really should make it a habit that we don't go blaspheme any devotee. And for that matter, not blaspheming anyone. Because if blaspheming is in my nature, I may end up blaspheming devotees also, and then I will uproot my bhakti lata. So I have to be very, very careful not to blaspheme any devotees. Then the names of Lord Brahma, Shiva, Durga Devi, we should never equate them with the names of Lord Krishna. They have a very special position, yes, but the Supreme Lord is Krishna. No one can become equal to the Lord. Then disobeying the orders of the spiritual master. Following the instructions of the Guru is very, very crucial. He is our spiritual guide. So if we don't do that, if there is disobedience in our behavior, then that is a very big offense. Vedic literature, the fourth point, we have to give a lot of respect to the Vedic literature. Because if we are disrespecting the traditions, the scriptures, and which are coming in the Vedic version, that is a very big offense because it's all coming from the Supreme Lord. Uh, so we should never disrespect the Vedic literature. Then imagining the glories of chanting. This point number 5, that the glories of chanting Hare Krishna are just imagination. That is also an offense. We have to understand that if we are denying or dismissing the power and significance of chanting Hare Krishna, then we are disrespecting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this also needs to be avoided. Then number 6, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. If we are speculating or if we are changing the meaning of anything in the holy name or in the scriptures, and that's also a very big offense. We are no ones to give any any speculative interpretation. No, we should never do that. Then committing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name, thinking that I can just keep committing any kind of sin, any kind of offense, and I'll just chant and that will make good my offense. No, that's a very big offense. So if we are indulging in activities like intoxication, illicit sex, meat eating, or gambling while claiming to be a devotee of Krishna, then that's a very big offense. Then considering chanting as a ritual, that is just like karma kanda is there, so chanting is also one such activity. No, chanting is sublime. It's higher than any other kind of ritualistic activity. So treating the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra as a mere ritual or karma kanda, that is also a very big offense. Then instructing a faithless person. So sharing the glories of the holy name with those who do not have faith in the process is considered an offense. So initial any basic knowledge, like we do encourage people to take up to chanting, come to the temple, read scriptures. Initial information, basic information can be given, but the very intimate matters about bhakti, very deep matters, they should not be discussed with people who don't have faith, in the words of the Lord. So instructing faithless people, that's number 9. And number 10, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name. So lack of faith and attachment. So if we are still maintaining material attachments and there's a lack of full faith in the chanting of the holy name, then that is also a very serious offense. And every devotee who's claiming to be a Vaishnava, we have to be very, very, very cautious. We have to carefully guard against these offenses. Because what is our goal? Goal is to achieve the desired success. That is Krishna Prema, love for Krishna. And these things become impediments on our path to achieving that great goal. So, like I mentioned earlier, we should not think that these things are, why are we reading one full chapter about offenses, one full class, more than one full class? We're just talking about offenses. It's just cumbersome. No, it's not cumbersome. It's actually to protect us. When we read through these things again and again, then these things become a part of us. We are very careful, how we are speaking, how we are behaving. Now, this doesn't mean that we become scared all the time. No, we become careful. So there is a difference between being scared and being careful. So we need to be careful so that we offer the right, correct respect to the deity so that no offenses are committed, which can really, become impediments on our path to Lord Krishna. Okay. So we'll stop here. Any questions?
Mataji, one question I want to ask. There is other rule that one should not offer foodstuff which is cooked by a non-veg. Okay, that is okay. One should not worship the deity before a non-devotee, and one should not engage himself in the worship of the Lord while seeing a devotee. Now, if you have a helper in the house, she is not a devotee. Yeah, this area you get Krishna, they are all, the demigod worshippers. Then what do we do? Of course, in the kitchen, when they're helping, they're cutting, chopping, and giving. So they are, of course, they are in the kitchen, no? So what do we do?
Yes, Mataji. So see, those things practically we cannot avoid. The house help will also be cleaning the temple kitchen, but then we can also think that because she's cleaning the temple, she's also rendering a seva to the Lord.
You're cutting the vegetables and all that is okay, no?
She's also doing seva. Yeah, the final food that you have prepared, the bhoga thali, that we can avoid showing to anyone else before offering to Krishna. Yeah, that we can do, Mataji. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, we have one prayer request. This is for Mahesh Chandra Pandya Prabhuji. He's the husband of our dear Navkishori Mataji. So, Prabhuji is having some health issues. So, let us all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3 times so that Prabhuji is quickly out of these health issues. So, let's just
Hare
chant.
Krishna, right?
Yes, Mataji.
Sorry, his name is Prashant.
Prashant. Oh, Mataji sent me some other name. Okay.
No,
Sorry, Mataji.
my father-in-law name is Mahesh Chandra. Sorry, Mataji.
Okay. So she sent me that name. Okay. So we'll pray for Prabhuji. So let's all chant 3 times Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You can all unmute and we can chant together for Prabhuji's health. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Rama, Ram Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Rama, Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Rama, Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna
Yes,
Mataji.
Yes,
Mataji, is
Mataji.
there any possibility can you share yesterday's class recording, Mataji?
It's there on YouTube. You can check on Inner Consciousness Forum. It's there. Every day we live stream it.
No, Mataji, not yesterday. That Ritvik, flawless Ritvik, something was there. Morning yesterday 9:30. It was. I somehow missed it.
I'll check that, Mataji. I'll check that.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Dandavat.
Thank you so much, all.
Very Dandavat Pranam.
Vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Anant Koti
Koti
Vaishnavi
Vaishnavi
ki
ki
jai.
jai.
Jai Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai. Srila
Jai.
Rupa Goswami ki jai. Srila
Goswami
Prabhupada.
jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Thank you for the
Hare
sincere
Krishna,
prayers. I
Mataji.
really appreciate it. Hare Bol.
Hope the Prabhu will recover fast.